Have you ever felt a sigh so big it seemed to have a life of its own? This is the story of a sigh that decided to search for its true place. It lived in the chest of Simon, a quiet boy who didn't know how to express what he felt. His heart held words, but his lips never used them. Every time Simon tried to speak, something stopped him. The sigh grew and grew, trapped between what he thought and what he never dared to say. One cloudy afternoon, as rain tapped the window, the sigh escaped from his chest. No one saw it leave, but he felt it fly. The sigh crossed the city, light as a breeze, curious as a child. It had no eyes, but it sensed emotions, echoes of forgotten hearts. In its flight, it met Lyra, a broken lantern hanging from a lonely post. "Where are you rushing to?" she asked with a trembling light. "I'm looking for a heart that will listen," answered the sigh. And Lyra, who no longer lit paths, spoke of a voice that had been lost. Further on, the sigh found Vico, a detuned violin in an old shop. "I once had a purpose too, but no one plays me anymore," he sighed. The sigh stayed to listen, and Vico cried out stringless notes. It understood that not all silences are empty, some are full of music. Continuing its journey, the sigh felt a force pulling it. It was a girl, Aurora, crying without tears in front of a wilted flower. It approached her without a sound and wrapped her in its invisible warmth. Aurora smiled faintly, as if touched by a caress to the soul. "Thank you, whoever you are," she whispered, and the sigh understood that sometimes a soft gesture says more than 1,000 unspoken words. Aurora didn't know it, but her sadness had the same color as Simon's, and the sigh, for the first time, longed to return. It crossed rivers, rooftops, childless parks. In every corner, it heard what no one said: secrets, fears, silent loves, and trapped words. Then it understood. It wasn't just Simon's sigh. It was the sigh of everyone who didn't know how to speak what they felt. It returned to the gray sky where it had been born. Simon was there, watching the rain, with eyes wet on the inside. The sigh settled in his chest once more, and this time it didn't want to stay silent. It was time to be a bridge, not a prison. Simon took a deep breath, and as he exhaled, he spoke. For the first time in a long while, a word crossed his lips. "Hi." No one applauded, but the world seemed to pause for a second. Aurora, somewhere else, felt something in her heart and smiled without knowing why. Since then, the sigh became a guide. It was no longer a shadow fleeing, but a breeze pushing others to speak with their soul. Whenever someone feels a lump in their throat, it appears, not to escape, but to help release what doesn't know how to come out. In the city, they say there's a warm breeze that comes just when you need it most. Some call it sigh, others courage. Simon began writing little phrases and sticking them on trees. It's okay to feel. Your voice matters too. You are not alone. Aurora found one of those phrases and kept it like a treasure. "Thank you, whoever you are," she said again, with more strength and less fear. The sigh became wind, and the wind became words. Words that travel, that hug, that build invisible bridges between hearts. Sometimes Simon still hesitates, but he breathes deeply and lets a sigh remind him that speaking is also an act of self-love. Aurora also learned to paint her feelings on dry leaves. She lets them fly with the wind, knowing someone somewhere will read them. Vico, the violin, was tuned by an old man and now plays in plazas full of children. Lyra, the lantern, was replaced, but no one forgets her soft light. And even if no one sees them, every night, when the world falls silent, the sigh flies once more, seeking the one who needs it most. Because sighs aren't always sadness. Sometimes they're the soul's purest way of saying, "I'm here." Moral: sometimes what we don't say weighs more than 1,000 words. But when we dare to speak, the soul learns how to breathe. See you soon with more magical stories that will take you to incredible worlds.